A new season had arrived for the limited late models, and so did another year of growth for a division that started back in 2005. In a sport whose vast majority of competitors are male, the guys were chasing the winningest female at Stafford last year, but Alexandra Fern came out on top, earning her first track championship at the prestigious half mile. The East Longmeadow native was poised to go back-to-back, but the limited late model field entered 2022 with its mix of established veterans and breakout stars. This year, the limited late models were poised to be even more competitive, with a few new names and drivers trying new equipment. But who would strike first on Napa Auto Parts opening day? The season opener began with Jeremy Lavoie on the pin and Mike Hopkins alongside. Hopkins ran a limited schedule last year, but still scored 2 wins and 9 top 5s in 12 races. It might be another partial year for the Stafford Springs native, but they proved in 21 that whenever the 78 is in the field will have to deal with them. Hopkins made the outside work in the first few laps, taking the lead from Lavoie. The 78 began to pull away, but the defending champion made her way up to second and was slowly closing in on the Skip Outdoors Accent 78. 3 minor cautions in the first 15 laps bunched the field up. Matt Clement's spin was the result of a mechanical problem that sidelined him for the rest of the day. On the restart, Fern edged out Hopkins on the outside, right as another caution came out for rookie Kevin Cormier. The Broadbrook Brewing 12 car was scored the leader with just 4 laps to go. But on the ensuing restart, Hopkins got the jump and took the top spot yet again. But later that lap, the race was blown completely wide open.
Here comes Fern, there's contact in the field. Both Fern and Hopkins into the outside wall. Pat Node with nowhere to go, and the rest of the leaders take evasive action to the infield grass.
Nearly half the field was swept up in the pileup, and the 2 fastest cars of the day saw their race end with wrecked cars and bent feelings. After the incident, it was Rich Hammond on the front row with Jensick, Ari Jensick. Hammond would clear Ari on the restart, but the 28 would have a mechanical snafu, forcing him to surrender the lead to sophomore Matt Scapini. Scapini had to endure 2 more restarts in the final 2 laps, but the Litchfield native held off the rest of the field, giving the JRC Transportation 10 car the season opening win, Scapini's second career victory at Stafford.
That was a wild one. Didn't really know what was going to happen. I mean, we were all over the place from the beginning. Got some lucky breaks making it through the grass here and avoiding whatever was flying out on the track. Yeah, but all in all, I mean, unbelievable.
Let's go!
Unfortunately for Mike Hopkins, after the heavy damage suffered in the big wreck, the 78 would not make another appearance this season. A year-long championship in racing cannot be won in the first few features, but it sure can be lost. After a rainout, Alex Fern and the 12 team got the car back together, but needed a major rebound in race 2. The front row saw Matt Clement on the inside and Fern on the outside. Matt would have the edge and slowly create a gap. Fern, on the other hand, was being reeled in by Damian Pilardi, who was optimistic that 2022 could be his biggest year yet. A couple laps shy of halfway, Pilardi would try and take second away from the champion.
Damian Pilardi, Alexandra Fern, they are locked together. Pat Node becomes the breaker.
And for the second event in a row, the defending champion has an issue.
I don't know. I don't got anything nice to say. I'll just watch the video, but I just want to thank everybody who gets me here. There's a lot of people who help me out. You guys know this. Again, we'll have to watch video. I don't got anything nice to say.
The last half of the race was a 3-car battle between Matt Clement, Jeremy Lavoie, and Rich Hammond. Hammond would make quick work of Lavoie before pulling up to the back bumper of the 59 at the white flag.
Here's a bid for the lead with less than half a mile to go. Rich Hammond comes out of nowhere to take over the lead from Matt Clement. Clement can't believe his eyes.
Just like in 21, Hammond took the checkered flag in the season's second race, but it wouldn't take long for the Tallinn native to cement himself as a title favorite. Rich Hammond has been racing at Stafford for over 15 years, but after partnering with Rob Russell and RRC, the team built a new car for 2021, leading to 2 victories and substantial consistency. After a hard wreck cost the team a chance at the title last year, Hammond knew going into 22 that they had a chance to fight for the championship once again. The Napa of Tallinn 28 car started the 3rd race of the year back in 9th. By lap 7, Hammond was in 3rd when the caution flew for Scott Clement after hard contact with the front stretch concrete. Hammond would capitalize on the next restart with a 3-wide move, making his way to 2nd. Contact between Pilardi, Fern, and Hammond led to a chain reaction, ending with the top 2 finishers on opening day not finishing this race. Hammond would pass Gary Patnode following a restart on the outside, right before Patnode would find himself out of the race. The 28 would dominate the last 11 laps, claiming back-to-back victories for the first time in his Stafford career. With rain threatening the final Friday of May, the limited late models would end up being the only division to run its feature. If there was a hard luck award, the early contenders for that honor would go to Alex Fern and Gary Patnode, with both drivers having 2 DNFs in the first 3 races. So how fitting would it be that the 4th feature of the season would come down to those 2 drivers in the final laps?
May have an opening off of turn 4 as Patno slides up wide. White flag, 1 lap to go in the limited late model feature, and they're side by side for the top spot.
Alexandra Fern pulled off a move that made her not only a factor, but gave her the spot as she motored away. Gary Patnode, in the blink of an eye, can't believe his eyes. They come off the turn, Patnode's reeling her back in, but it is Alexandra Fern to take down the win.
As rain began to come down in victory lane, the defending champion was hopeful that the storm that was the first few races was finally starting to clear out. During a long off-season, race teams search for ways to upgrade their equipment, all in hopes to have an edge over the competition once spring arrives. Over the winter, Damian Pilardi and the 87 team made multiple changes to enhance the car's performance, in hopes of competing in the top 5. But after 4 races, the Wellington native's best finish was 7th. Pilardi is in his 3rd full year of limited late model competition, and is looking forward to the month of June to prove that the upgrades paid off. The Casa Grande Builders 87 started 2nd, but rolled the top past Ari Jensic to take over the point, before Ari found herself in the middle of a 3-wide situation, leading to a spin. Pilardi pulled away from the field and was 2 laps away from paradise, but the battle for 2nd was hot and heavy.
This time Gary Patnode much more aggressive, getting into the
Jensic
turn.
goes around, a little contact was made there. Everybody scrambles.
If Pilardi wanted to earn his first career win, he had to hold off 3 of the best limited late model drivers at the end.
Off the turn, the All-American kid, Damon Pilardi, wins here at Stafford for the very first time.
It means everything. I've been doing this since karts. Never thought I'd get here. I have to thank the Casa Grande family, my father, my grandfather, my whole family for supporting me every week. It feels great to be back in victory lane from coming from karts to here.
Damian Pilardi joined his father, RJ Serdell, as Stafford Speedway winners. After a breakout 3-win campaign in 2021, Canton, Connecticut's Devin Jensic was looking for his first podium this year after 5 races. Devin had a couple promising runs thwarted by spins, and was fixed on proving that last year was not a fluke. In the 6th race of the season, Gary Patnode's hope of a 2nd podium finish went up in smoke, giving him DNFs in half the races this season. With the feature nearing the halfway point, Devin was running 2nd, set to make a move on rookie Kevin Cormier.
They are side by side, off the turn. They sway to the left, to the right, and at the line, 9 laps up on the board, brand new leader, Devin Jensic.
Not only did the Genco Construction 23 score its first podium of the year, it found victory lane, Devin's 4th career win at Stafford. After 6 races, Rich Hammond found himself atop the standings by 4 points over Jeremy Lavoie and 12 points over Devin Jensick. Hammond's back-to-back wins in May already matched his win total from 21, and he was ready to surpass that mark in the division's 25-lap extra distance event. Rookie Kevin Cormier took command of the feature early and pulled away until a close call with a spinning Dana Ray forced Cormier to check up. The race went caution-free, but Cormier had a rearview mirror full of the Ricky Rudd throwback 28 car.
He guards the spot, but suddenly the inside lane opens up as Kevin's car gets loose coming off turn number 4. Rich Hammond, the point leader, moves to the front of the class.
3 wins in the season's first 7 races allowed Hammond to expand his point lead heading into the summer. 2022 up to this point can be described as a roller coaster for Gary Patnode. In 7 races, the New Hartford native scored 2 podiums, but the other 5 features resulted in finishes of 8th or worse. The 8th race of the season started with the GP Fence 22 going from 4th to 1st in less than 2 laps. Patnode would lose the lead to Jeremy Lavoie on the 9th lap, but the pass was negated after an accident collected Matt Clement and Kevin Cormier. The final 5 laps saw 5 cars under a blanket, but Patnode would hold on at the checkered flag while Lavoie would end the race in the wall. The roller coaster season hit a high point for Gary Patnode, but the question was, could he stay there? The first Friday of July, and several teams have already had to overcome obstacles, such as Matt Clement, who had to put his car back together after his accident with Kevin Cormier. The Wethersfield native has not been able to rekindle the magic of his 7-win season in 2019. The Clement Motorsports 59 has seen victory lane 3 times in the last 2 seasons, and had 1 possible victory slip away on the final lap this year. Matt would start the 9th race of the year on the outside of the front row and take the lead immediately. The race would go green to checker, but not before Matt had to hold off the 2-time champion, Jeremy Lavoie.
Here they come, back off turn number 4. It's not over with till they cross the stripe. Matt Clement by a nose at the line.
Matt's win was the 11th of his career, and he had to hold off a driver who was also looking for their first win of the season. Jeremy Lavoie found himself without a win after 9 races. The Windsor Locks native had been strong all year, sitting just 6 points behind leader Rich Hammond. But the Rosati 6 machine still needed a little more in order to get that win.
I needed bite off. I was tight in the center and loose off, and we were battling that for most of the summer.
The season reached its halfway point, race number 10. Lavoie started 3rd. On lap 3, he was leading. Gary Patnode had a night to forget, getting caught up in 3 separate incidents during the 20-lap feature. Lavoie would endure multiple restarts and challenges from Kevin Cormier and Matt Scapini to claim his first win of 2022, putting him just 2 points behind Rich Hammond going into the second half of the year. The season reached the heat of summer, and Gary Patnode was looking to put last Friday's rough night behind him. But it wouldn't come easy, as the 22 started the 11th race of the year back in 9th. Despite a caution-free race, Patnode was on the move. After 7 laps, he was already up to 3rd. By the 13th lap, the 22 was out in front. Jeremy Lavoie was in position to either tie or pass Rich Hammond in the point standings, but an attempted pass for 3rd on the last lap went awry, leading to a disappointing 10th place finish. Patnode wasn't disappointed, having one of the best drives all year in the limited late models to claim win number 2 for Car 22 in 2022.
Probably the best run I've ever had right there. When we go 9th to 1st, hot dog.
Defending champion Alex Fern had stayed quiet. With the championship largely out of the question, it was all about winning for the 23-time Stafford winner. Race 12 started with Kevin Cormier on the pin. An early caution bunched the field up for a restart before they bunched up again in turn 2.
Car to the wall, and it is Jay Clement. Meanwhile, your point leader, Rich Hammond's involved. Matt Clement is involved.
as is one of the Jensic, Ari Jensic in the 17 car.
When the race reached its halfway point, Fern was poised to get back to the point.
There's a tap to the bumper though. Alexandra Fern rolls up to the bottom there. Door handle to door handle on the back straightaway.
Cormier drops to the second spot outside of Fern. Fern takes over the lead. Number 12 car goes to the point.
Alexandra Fern leading the way off turn number 4. 9 laps to go. Rich Hammond out of shape, the championship point leader.
Hammond's race was saved by a late caution. It also gave Fern one final challenge in the form of Jeremy Lavoie.
Here comes Jeremy Lavoie.
Lavoie trying to the inside. Classic limited late model action. Fern will take the win.
While Fern celebrated her second win of the year, Rich Hammond salvaged what could have been a disastrous night, finishing 4th and holding a 10-point advantage over Lavoie. The 13th race of the season commenced with brothers Jay and Matt Clement running 1-2, but the point leader had other plans, passing Matt for second on lap 6, then taking the lead from Jay on lap 7. 3 laps later, the most notable incident of the feature took place.
It comes around and crashes into Pilardi. Oh, hard hit for Damian Pilardi to the outside wall off of turn number 4.
Pilardi was okay, but the car was destroyed. A few more restarts followed, but nobody had anything for Hammond, scoring his 4th win of the season, doubling his win total from last year and expanding his point lead to 18 over Lavoie. The month of August started with Ari Jensic in front. A few laps later, it was Kevin Cormier. By lap 6, Jeremy Lavoie would take command. Lavoie would earn his 2nd win of the season, cutting into Hammond's point lead. The gap was back down to 10. After 14 races, one of the main storylines developing was the rise of rookie Kevin Cormier. A graduate of the Wild Thing karts, the Agawam native decided to give Stafford a shot after racing up north for a couple years. Despite some early struggles, the Garrett's Carpentry 14 has finished 2nd 3 times, including the last 2 features. Cormier may be happy to find better results, yet he also knows that this team can become the 9th different winner in the limited late models this season. Cormier started race 15 in 2nd spot. He would take advantage of some 3-wide racing to clear the field and take the lead. The feature would go green the checker, and Cormier faced no challenges, claiming his first career win at Stafford Speedway.
Oh, this is awesome. I didn't expect this today after the 2 back-to-back seconds. I didn't expect to come here with a first. This is amazing. I'm at a loss for words right now. I can't believe it.
The top 3 drivers in points all finished outside the top 5. Alex Fern finished 6th, Rich Hammond 7th, and Jeremy Lavoie 8th. But race 16 was a completely different story. The feature began under clear skies, but on lap 2, contact between Damian Pilardi and Ari Jensic set off a dust storm and sent the whole field scrambling. Rich Hammond and Jeremy Lavoie had to do some dirt tracking to avoid getting caught up in the melee. When the dust settled, Lavoie would quickly take the lead from Jay Clement, but then Lavoie would slip, allowing Alex Fern to sneak underneath and grab command. The race would come down to a 3-way battle between the top 3 in points, Alex Fern, Jeremy Lavoie, and Rich Hammond. Oh, maybe this time though, Fern washes up the track and Lavoie looks to the inside for the lead.
So is this the break, the change for the lead? Jeremy Lavoie on the inside, Alexandra Fern on the outside. She loses the battle for the lead, may lose second, as Rich Hammond now will streak the 28 into the 2nd spot.
Lavoie's 3 wins on the year beats his 2 wins in 21. Hammond, however, would still hold a 10-point lead. After the track suffered its first rain out in 3 months, the teams were back at it to open the final month of the season. Rich Hammond had managed to avoid substantial trouble all year. His worst finish of the season, 7th. And with 4 races remaining, Hammond had to stay clean and stay close to Jeremy Lavoie. Ever since his big crash back in July, Damian Pilardi had been racing his father, RJ Surdell's 83 car. At the start, Pilardi would jump out ahead of a snarling pack of cars. That gaggle of cars continued to race hard for second until it all fell apart, with the championship leader becoming a victim.
Ben, here is Fern into Clement.
and that'll collect Rich Hammond, the point leader, on the back straightaway.
He got the wall good off of turn 2, and there's a lot of sparks coming out of that 28 car. The 28 finished 13th. Not only would the wreck hurt Hammond in points, it would also hurt Hammond himself, who broke a rib as a result of the incident. Lavoie knew it was his chance to pounce, and pounce he did, going from 10th to 2nd, before surrendering the runner-up spot to Matt Scapini. All of this happened behind Pilardi, who pulled off his second win of the season in the second car, bringing both the 87 and the 83 to victory lane in 2022. And Jeremy Lavoie's third place finish gave him the point lead with a 10-point edge over Hammond. The 18th race of the season started off with Matt and Jay Clement 1-2 in a race that went caution-free. The two championship contenders were mired outside the top 5, but within close proximity to each other, a little too close at times.
In fact, the championship contenders are about side by side. They get together off turn 4. Lavoie, what a save with Hammond to the inside, and I think Jeremy may only lose one spot.
At the front of the pack, it was Matt Clement leading brother Jay to the checkered flag, in a moment the Clement family will never forget. The first ever Clement 1-2 finish.
That was really special. Jay, congrats. I beat you, haha. Coming across side by side across the line here, that means the world to me. I am on cloud 9. This is amazing.
Heading into the penultimate race, Jeremy Lavoie had a 12-point lead over Rich Hammond. Hammond didn't have to wait until the feature, though, to find drama, getting caught up in a minor incident during his heat race. Hammond would then have to avoid calamity on the first lap of the feature, after an incident swept up the Jensic twins and the two most recent winners in Damian Pilardi and Matt Clement. Jay Clement held the lead briefly, but Kevin Cormier would quickly take over, getting the top spot by the third lap. The rest of the race went green, and Cormier backed up his maiden win in August with a second trip to victory lane. Lavoie's third place finish bested Hammond's 5th, and so heading into Napa Championship night, Lavoie's lead over Hammond was up to 16. After a long, grueling season, it all comes down to Napa Championship night for the limited late models. Jeremy Lavoie's 16-point lead meant that he had to finish within 7 positions of Rich Hammond to become the only 3-time limited late model champion. Hammond has to finish at least 8 positions ahead of Lavoie to earn his first ever track title. Both drivers had clean heat races, with the early advantage going to Hammond, who would start the final feature of the year in 2nd, while Lavoie started 5th. But after a lap, Lavoie had already passed Hammond. The 6th car would run 3rd, while Hammond fell back to 5th. The battle up front was between two drivers who started the year in the same pileup, Alex Fern and Gary Patno, with Fern getting the advantage on the 13th lap. Behind the leaders, Lavoie was in good shape, running by himself in 3rd. Hammond needed a miracle to even have a chance. With 3 laps to go, it happened. There's 2 laps to go.
Jeremy Lavoie goes around in turn 4.
And so does Jay Clement.
Lavoie spins the 6 car. Caution is out. The championship leader.
Oh, look at the rear of the car. The rear of the car is wobbling.
Something broke, and this might have opened the door for Rich Hammond.
Something, I heard a big snap in the rear, and I was going around, and it wasn't even tracking straight when I was coming in here. So, man, it's tough to end like this, but we'll come back next year and see if we can't repeat.
Lavoie was out of the race and would finish 13th. That meant Hammond had to finish in the top 5, and the championship would be his. Alex Fern said the previous week that she was going to kick some tail in the season finale, and she backed it up.
Come here and absolutely spank everybody like I said I was gonna, so I don't lie. And just really, really excited to be here. I believe this is career win 25 for me. That means a lot to me. I've been waiting for this for so long.
Rich Hammond's 4th place finish was enough, locking up his first career championship at Stafford Speedway.
It hasn't sunk in. I can't even believe it. I just, kind of prayed and just, I don't mean bad luck on anybody, but It worked. Everybody that helps out, believing in me and sticking behind me, and it's wonderful, man. It's great.
Hammond won the limited late model title by just 2 points over Lavoie. Both drivers led the division with 15 top 5s and 19 top 10s. Hammond had the most wins out of everyone with 4. Alex Fern may not have repeated as champion, but after a terrible first 2 races, the 12 team bounced back nicely, finishing 3rd in the standings, just 16 points behind Hammond. Devin Jensick may not have matched his win total from 21, but he did earn his best career points finish, ending up 4th. Sophomore Matt Scapini wound up 5th in points for the 2nd straight year, scoring 50 more points compared to 2021. Kevin Cormier's 2 wins, along with a strong second half of the season, earned him the Rad Auto Machine Rookie of the Year award. He and Damian Pillardi both earned their first 2 career victories at Stafford this year. Overall, 9 different drivers found victory lane in one of the most competitive years in recent memory for the limited late models. Hammond will be back, looking to go back-to-back as limited late model champion. But as we learned this year, there will be several tough contenders ready to go at it, and it's never over until the final checkered flag flies.